there. So there we go. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Well, Mary Katie, yes, finally back in the same room together, because that walk from, my office to City Hall is just so far.
Yeah,
sometimes.
well, and not everyone can see you, or maybe it's just me. You did take a little bit of a soaking on your way over.
Yes,
so.
It's been raining very good.
Yeah.
It's been testing city infrastructure today. Yes.
If you need a Wausau umbrella for the walk home, we got one for you.
Nah, I think I'll just rough it, because that's just me. I'm, glutton for punishment or something like that.
Yes, you are, sir.
But nonetheless, obviously, water is something that's been on everybody's mind. We've seen a couple of news releases, a lot of real technical stuff going on with the drinking water treatment plant. I think, is it the line from The Office? Explain this to me like I'm 5.
Oh, that's all I do, and that's what I ask people to do too, right? Because because this is technical stuff. We talked about chemical feed tubes and diameters and like a variety of things, right? A punch list of 600 things. So basically, where we're at is we were supposed to be open in August. That got delayed. We were supposed to be open October 4th. Again, that got delayed. So there's some mechanical things that our contractor's working through. And we had to have a quick meeting to make sure that we're all on the same page and we're on the same terms. So basically, we gave Myron 30 days to get everything done that needs to be done. And we expect that to happen. So we're waiting impatiently for our new plant to open and start giving us water that's filtering out the PFAS to everyone's home.
Yes, and filtering out the PFAS to a certain level of below 20 parts per trillion.
Yep.
Still not exactly where you would like to be, but it's certainly better than before, right?
Yeah, so when we have the new facility online, we might kind of fluctuate a little bit between 0 parts per trillion and 20 parts per trillion, depending on how new the resin is and the system, making sure there's no breakthrough and things like that. So we'll get there. I feel good about that. And then obviously in 24, we're looking forward to our granular activated carbon system, which will filter it all down to non-detect. At least that's the effort that we're going for.
Yes, and that's exactly the next point that I was going to ask, because there's been some discussion about that as well. Obviously, there was supposed to be discussion at the last meeting, but you pulled that off the agenda, because especially regarding the bills that could be associated with this for the taxpayer, or for the ratepayers, going up to well over $100 per quarter. There's obviously been a lot of discussion on that front as well. So that is still something that you're going to pursue for now, right?
Yeah, so we pulled that off, and when I say we, I guess it's me. I'm the chair of that committee, the commission. So I'm waiting for the actual full analysis from Ellers, the financial impact. So we're talking about what that's going to do to rates, factoring in the kind of grants that we already know we'll get, and also like the different variety of funding mechanism. Obviously, I would like to use some ARPA for this to offset some of those costs. And then, I've talked to several people from, federal, state, local, how can we fund some of this without it going back to the ratepayers? And, the answer is, okay, how much time do you got? So, it's gonna be a slog, but we'll get it done. And I guess one of the things that I learned was initially when the city started planning this in 2019, they thought that the rates would go up 45%. So that is not what's happened yet, but we're still looking ahead at what will the actual impact be.
Yes, because in the discussions and the back and forth that I've had with Eric Lindman on this, my understanding is some of these were already probably going to be baked in anyway, regardless of if you're going for the granular activated carbon system or not, and that's because of state regulations and not anything that the utility's doing, right?
Yeah, right. So in order to pay for it, we need to use the utility fee stuff related to that. So that means ratepayers are paying it. So yes, there are regulatory guidelines that we need to follow, but yeah, we'll get there. We're there.
Yeah. So at this point, I think the obvious is it's still way too early to know if this is actually going to happen or what the impact on the ratepayers is.
I would expect the next Water Commission meeting that we have that actual fiscal impact and financial kind of look. So expect that. I know you tune in every time we have a meeting, so thank you for that.
Yes. Yeah, I'm there sometimes in my sweats and slippers, sometimes in actual people clothes, watching those. Maybe I should bring my cat to the office sometimes to watch these meetings and record them. That might make it more interesting sometimes.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah, indeed. But no, it's something that we've definitely been keeping an eye on, and I know a lot of people in the city are keeping an eye on as well.
It is my number one issue right now that we're gonna get through. We gotta make sure we put a stop to all of this, so we'll be ready when we open this new plant.
Yes, and the opening date again now, sometime in December?
Yeah, we're looking at the end of December right now, so
Okay.
hoping we get through all of our issues and I think we're starting to stream water in again tomorrow, which is Friday. Sorry for you viewers who are probably watching this on a Monday.
Right.
But we'll be starting that.
And see where things go.
Yep. And so once we start flowing water, we do that once we get to a week without any issues. The DNR comes in and checks everything out. So that's kind of what we're going for.
Wow, so this really is an involved process.
Oh my goodness.
Something...
Do you see the bags under my eyes? It's very involved.
I was just going to say, this is not something that they teach you at George Mason University, is it?
No, I don't think so. Maybe they do somewhere, but I didn't take a class on this.
Not in any of the classes that you
Right.
took. Yeah, and that's one thing that, I'm sure a lot of you, when you get into this position, find out that you either have to be a very quick study on things like this, or you have to have some real trust in the people around you that are feeding you the information.
And all of it,
right?
yeah, all of that is true.
Yes. And that's especially true as well on the budget, because that's the other thing that's been taking up a whole lot of your time. Give us the good news or the bad news. I mean, where are we at on this as we look to approve it later this month?
So depending on how you're looking at things, the good news is the Finance Committee agreed to push the budget on to the public hearing. So we'll have that next week. I'm like, we have multiple meetings scheduled.
Yes.
So next council meeting, we'll have the public hearing. So we should have it all posted. People can take a peek at it if they're interested. I have a whole presentation that I put together that I'm probably going to post on social, so it's easier for people to consume wherever they are. Just kind of how to read a budget, right? What is the cost to continue? What does that mean? What is the difference between levy and tax? Spoiler alert, they're the same thing. So, it's these kinds of things. I want to make sure people understand what they're looking at too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to expect. I know it's been a little bombastic at the county with their discussions. I don't know if we'll see the same kind of discussions happening, but so far a lot of people kind of agreeing on what we got to do.
Mm-hmm. And what is that at this point? I mean, can taxpayers expect level, stay the same, increase, decrease?
Yeah, there'll be a slight increase, at least in the city portion. So it's nothing. I don't think it's going to end up being anything that's unexpected, especially based on inflation, things like that. But we're not really in the same situation as the county at this point with some of their, they've talked about their employee raises and things like that. We've tried to keep up throughout the last 2 years, so we don't have a drastic increase. Now, if you're into nerd stuff, the thing that I'm thinking about is 2 years away right now, but we accepted that $3 million SAFER grant from the federal government so that we can hire 12 new firefighters. But the concern I have now is not even the levy limit, it's that when we accept and we spend that, we will then maybe forfeit our expenditure restraint grant that we get from the state for not growing our budget. So we're trying to work through what that looks like and plan for the future, because I think it was about $800,000 that we got from expenditure restraint. So maybe we can work with our fellow electeds in Madison and see what we can do there.
Yeah, and I know that's another thing that some people have had concerns about, because they said, yes, this looks great now, but eventually these salaries are going to come back to the taxpayers. So that is something that you're looking at now. How do we cover that in the budget?
Yeah, so obviously we're thinking ahead right now because we don't have to cover it yet. But we've had some funding mechanisms that Marianne's found when we close out TIFs. We have some funding, if we get better at our billing when it comes to ambulances and the reimbursements. So looking through all of those things that we can shore up, that's what we're planning for now for 3 years from now.
So I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that would appreciate the fact that you are looking that far ahead.
Yeah,
on
we
that.
can't help but look, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff we're doing, even the contract negotiations we're going through right now with police and fire, they're looking at like 2 and 3 year agreements, and so we have to make sure that we're planning for that out. So, this isn't just a 1-year thing.
Indeed. And the other thing that we can look at though ahead at on a 1-year basis is obviously we didn't need it last week because all we got was rain, but winter road maintenance, all that stuff is here as well, and that's something that you're thinking about because even some of our neighbors in North and South Dakota are certainly thinking about it because they got hammered this last weekend.
Oh yeah, we're thinking about it, and I think the thing that I keep thinking more about is the fact that we need drivers with CDLs. So we want to make sure we have the right employees who are able to respond when we do have a snowstorm. So if you know anyone, or if you're listening here and you have a CDL, we have a great opportunity for you. We would love to hire you to be part of our public works team.
So then, Ed, just exactly how does that work then for somebody who might have a CDL, but they've got some sort of other day job or something like that? Will they just get a text message on their phone one morning that all of a sudden, oh, hey, you're needed?
See, I wasn't thinking even that. I was thinking full-time Wausau employee. We got lots of work to do outside of snow plowing. So those guys, you've seen them at work down Grand Avenue. You've seen them everywhere working. So yeah.
Well,
that's what you got.
So that's what you got. You don't even you can just get that big cushy government salary, government pension, things like that.
The pension is real. Like you vest after 5 years, and that's not normal in other places. I don't know if you have a pension at the radio station. I didn't have one when I worked in news, but interestingly, I did have one at Foot Locker. So interesting stuff. But government job, that's the great thing. So if you're thinking ahead, if you're thinking of the future, pensions are great. The Wisconsin Retirement Fund, amazing.
Yeah, so then obviously there's that, and then there's the work that you have to do during the during the season as well. How is the city prepared right now for the winter?
I think we're getting ready. We've ordered our supplies. Some of the stuff is a little bit more expensive right now, but we're ready to go. We've worked with our contractors. It's November, so we are ready for the snow, even though we have this very spring-like storm happening right now.
That is true. That is true. And then
we got dark.
The city saving money because of lighting. But the last thing, then you did bring it up.
Thanks for noticing.
Yes, indeed. Foot Locker, obviously. You were away when the announcement came down about the warehouse closing here in Wausau. Setting aside the fact that you've had a history with that company as well, but what is the city doing to help those workers that are being impacted, and what do you know about the situation?
Yeah, I was actually here when that happened. They called me maybe 2 hours before that warn notice went out to everyone else, and we talked a little bit about who was impacted, what are they going to do. So interestingly, when that went out, I heard a lot from employers who wanted to get in touch with the employees at Foot Locker. They want to employ them immediately. They don't even know who they are. They want to. So we have 6,000 open jobs in Marathon County right now that are posted. So I have great hope that they will find a job that finds that they find meaningful.
Yeah,
and their skills match.
Right, and then the other part of that then that does become not quite your direct problem, but the city's problem is you've got a big, beautiful building there in the industrial park that sits vacant. So, do you know of? Has there been any interest in that location yet to maybe get some people in there? I
know that the building was sold to a different company earlier this year or late last year. So Foot Locker has been renting it, and so I think there might be some plans, but I don't know what those are. If I did, I would love to share and break that news here.
It's not going to be Chick-fil-A is what you're saying.
You know what? No, but I'm sure Gayleen would love to talk to you about what she's doing.
Oh, don't worry. She has. She has.
Of course. I'm sure she's really excited too.
Indeed. And again, for those of you that don't know, there is negotiations for Chick-fil-A in Red Mountain. We will leave it at that because, well, now all of a sudden I'm hungry.
Okay. I get you. Me too. Always.
Indeed. Well, Katie, we always appreciate the time. We'll look forward to chatting again next week.
Yes. Have a great week.